In this video, I'll give you the risers and fallers at quarterback and running back in 2024 fantasy redraft leagues. I'm Jim Coventry of RotoWire. All right, risers. Javonte Williams earlier in the summer was going outside the top 30 running backs. A lot of uncertainty as to what his role would be. Last year, he did not look good coming off the ACL injury. However, things changed significantly during camp. And I know Sean Payton, it's really hard to trust the words that he says as the coach of the Broncos. But nonetheless, Javonte Williams has had a steady drumbeat throughout the summer, showing that he looks like the running back we saw when he was a rookie 3 years ago. Evades a lot of tackles, can pick up chunks of yardage, very good as a receiver. So Javonte Williams has moved all the way up to running back 24. And I think he is very properly priced there. He can beat that ADP, can't smash that ADP. But remember, Sean Payton over the years, when the offenses were running at peak capacity, we saw two running backs be fantasy viable. Remember Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara both being regular starters and very strong producers? That could be the case here. Javonte Williams, though, at 220 pounds. Again, if he's looking like the back he was 2 years ago, that would be the player that we want to see in this lineup, because 220 pounds, he can handle a lot of work. Jaleel McLaughlin's a smaller guy, probably mixes in. Audric Estime probably gets some work, but I would not be surprised if Javonte Williams took the clear lead here and still was at value at ADP. Chase Brown also moved way up the ranks throughout the summer. Early in the summer, Chase Brown was running back 38 all the way up to running back 28. Obviously, I think people are figuring out that Chase Brown is obviously way more explosive than Zach Moss. We know that we're going to see three receiver sets from the Bengals, and are usually split out wide. That forces defense to play with a too high shell, put the safeties back. That means there's space in the middle of the field. Well, really, the Bengals would be at their best if they could have explosive plays with those free yards in the middle of the field. Chase Brown is far more likely to take advantage of those than Zach Moss. I think Chase Brown will be your clear receiving back. I think on early downs where the question comes in. Moss probably gets more goal line work than Brown, but I think Brown is going to eat into the carries that people thought Moss was going to have. So I think you're looking at 8 to 10 carries a game from Brown plus receiving work, and the receiving work is so critical in fantasy scoring system. Another riser look at quarterback, there's slight moves. Nobody really moves way up or way down unless there is some very, very big news or an injury. So a micro move throughout the summer has been Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going earlier in the summer about quarterback 9. Sometimes he'd fall to quarterback 10. He's a solid quarterback 8 now. And that was even before the Jamar Chase signing up with the team. Not even say signing up with the team, agreeing to play. I should just make it that way. Since Chase is in camp now, that ADP was already set. And I think people were just planning on Chase being there, and T. Higgins is playing for a contract. All three of them with Burrow are healthy right now. So I think the market is kind of settled in, realizing Cincinnati does not project to have a good defense. So Burrow's going to have to pass a lot. And again, the health news means everything. Joe Burrow should have a very, very high floor. He should have a reasonable ceiling. Probably he's not going to go way beyond his ADP, but where he's being drafted at, he has just a fair value, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the RotoWire Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. Also, you can check out all of our fantasy football content and our rankings and get a free 2-day trial, no credit card needed. Just head on over to rotowire.com/Jim, and you can check out all of our content. All right, a couple of fallers for you. Dak Prescott. Prescott earlier in the summer was the quarterback 8. He has been a solid quarterback 10 now. And I really think it's not just CD Lamb, who is in camp now, and he did sign, so he's going to be fine. I think people worry about all the missed time for Lamb and some soft tissue injuries, and the fact that the established receivers behind him, Brandon Cooks is into his 30s, Jalen Tolbert, we're wishing, praying, and hoping he is something, but we don't know. Jake Ferguson's a very good tight end, but how much does a tight end really move the needle? So I think the vibes in Dallas camp are that the team is just kind of meh right now, and there's no excitement coming out of Dallas. So I think the concerns are that this team is going to maybe implode. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I think it's just a perception, and that perception, if Lamb were to stay healthy, Dallas is going to throw all day. We know that from last year. They will not have a sustaining rushing attack. They don't have the pieces for that. The line is also not as good as it was. So Dak Prescott right now is fairly priced at quarterback 10. If you're buying that CeeDee Lamb can stay healthy, which no reason not to buy that, then I do think Prescott can match many of the numbers he saw when Dallas went pass heavy last year, and he could beat that ADP. The other faller goes hand in hand with the riser we had earlier, and it's Zach Moss of the Cincinnati Bengals. Earlier in draft season, Zach Moss was about running back 28 all the way down to running back 35. And as I said with Chase Brown, I just think the writing's on the wall. I don't think Moss can be a big factor in the receiving game. I think he's going to cede carries to Chase Brown, and those are going to be split up. Moss could get goal line work, which is great, but there's no guarantee that. But goal line work and some empty calorie carries, those really don't pile up to a great fantasy football option.